Hello everyone, welcome to this lecture on DC motor drives. In this lecture, we will understand operation of three-phase semi-converter fed separately excited DC motor drive. We will understand operation of three-phase full converter fed DC motor drive. Let us start with three-phase semi-converter fed DC motor drive for separately excited motor. So here we have a separately excited motor. It has armature part and field part. Both armature and fields are excited by different power supply. On armature side, here we are taking three-phase semi-converter which consists of this 3 SCRs and 3 diodes. Now, in order to understand the operation of this, we must know that speed control mechanism. So we understood that speed of this motor is proportional to the armature voltage EA, average output voltage EA, and is inversely proportional to the field current. That means if we increase the EA, that is average armature voltage, we can change the speed, and if we decrease field current, speed will increase. So in order to control this field side, we must have a variable voltage on field side that will control this IF. If VF is changed, IF will change, and if we change IF, there will be change in speed. In this drive, now we will focus with armature control. We will keep this field voltage constant, and we will go with armature control to control the speed. So speed will be controlled by controlling the armature voltage. So in order to control the armature voltage, we need to control the firing angle of thyristors T1, T2 and T3, and we need to understand how can we convert this three-phase AC into a variable DC here, EA, and variable DC will drive this motor at variable speed. So three-phase AC is to be converted into DC using these 3 thyristors and 3 diodes. A freewheeling diode is connected across it to freewheel the energy from the load in itself. So in order to understand the operation, we need to know that T1 will conduct when A phase is positive, T2 when B phase is positive, T3 when C phase is positive, D1 will conduct when A phase is negative, D2 will conduct when B phase is negative, and D3 will conduct when C phase is negative. Now this drive gives us one quadrant operation, means it will operate in this first quadrant where the average output voltage EA and average output current are in first quadrant, and we will get this operation, and power will flow from source to the load, and this will be a forward motoring. It is suitable for 15 to 150 HP applications. The field converter is single phase or three phase semi converter. The output can be continuous, is continuous for alpha less than equals 60 and discontinuous for alpha greater than 60. So let us understand these two operations in detail. Now first we'll start with discontinuous operation. So we are taking alpha more than 60 here, and here alpha is 90 degree. So first we have to draw these line voltages. So this one is R phase, A phase, this is second is another phase, B phase. It is starting 120 degree after, and there is third phase, this is C phase. This is starting 120 degree after B phase. Now if these three voltages are applied to the semi converter, what will happen? So we have to understand this operation. So first point is, any device will be ready to conduct when it is forward biased. So T1 is forward biased here because A phase is positive. Here T2 is forward biased, and here T3 is forward biased. That means T1 is ready to conduct here. Here T2 is forward bias and it can conduct if we apply the gate pulse at 0 degree firing angle, and T3 is ready to conduct from this point. Similarly, this diode D1 will conduct when the C phase is negative, D2 will conduct here when A phase goes negative, and D3 conducts when B phase goes negative. Now for thyristors, they will conduct when gate pulse is applied. So we have decided that alpha is to be 90. So from this point pi by 6, that is 30, we have to measure firing angle alpha. So T1 will start conducting here. T2 will start conducting 90 degree from here. So T2 will conduct somewhere here. So this point is shown. So here actual T2 will start conducting, and T3 will conduct at this angle 90 degree from here. But diodes are uncontrolled devices, they don't need firing angle pulses, so they will be conducting as soon as they get forward bias. So D1, D2 and D3 will start conducting here itself. Now logically, T1 when starts conducting from here will conduct till T2 is not fired. So logically it has to conduct till this point. But as we are connecting this freewheeling diode, and when voltage VSC goes negative, freewheeling diode will come in picture. That's why T1 will conduct only for this duration, that is pi by 6 plus alpha to 7 pi by 6. Now let us understand the operation of this circuit in detail. So first, if T1 is fired at pi by 6 plus alpha here, and D1 conducts, and the line voltage VSC appears across it. So here D1 will start conducting. So D1 has started conducting, but T1 has started conducting here. So in this time interval, there are no devices which are conducting, because circuit is not closed, no line voltage is appearing across the load, even though D1 has started conducting. So when both T1 and D1, so here you can see that at this point, both T1 and D1, they start conducting. So when they start conducting, the output voltage is VSC, because point A and point C are connected to the load. So output voltage in that case would be VSC. So this voltage is shown here. So this is the output voltage, which will be seen as a armature voltage on the output side of the motor. At 7 pi by 6, D2 will come in picture. So D2 will start conducting, and for this interval 7 pi by 6 to this, freewheeling diode will take place, and but current will be continuous. If you draw the current, it will be continuous in nature. And freewheeling will take place through that freewheeling diode. Current won't be made zero. Now up to this point, this T1 D1 has conducted and power has flowed from source to the load side. Now at 7 pi by 6 to pi by 6, freewheeling action has taken place. Now this D2 will join the conduction, but T1 is triggered at 5 pi by 6 plus alpha. So from 5 pi by 6 alpha to 11 pi by 6 plus alpha, T2 and D2, here T2 and D2 will come in conduction, and the load is connected to voltage VBA. So VBA will appear across the load. So here we can see that for alpha equals to 90 degree, we get 3 pulse operation. That means output has only 3 pulses in the, when input completes one cycle, output has 3 pulses. So ripple frequency is 3 times here for alpha less than 90 degree, and we get discontinuity in the output voltage. So this is discontinuous operation here, but output current is continuous because of inductive load. Freewheeling action is taking place at these intervals. Now If alpha is equals to 30 degree, you can see that for alpha less than 60 or greater equals to 60 degree, we get output as continuous, right? So here from pi by 6 plus alpha to pi by 2, T1, D3 are conducting, so we get output voltage as VAB. After that T1, D3 are conducting. After that D3 will turn off due to natural commutation. Now D1 will come in picture. So T1, D1 will start conducting, and when T1, D1 conducts, the output voltage is VAC. Now at this angle, T2 is fired again, so T2 and D2 starts conducting, then T2, D2 conducts further. So here we can see that for alpha less than or equals to 60 degree, we get continuous current and we get 6 pulses output. So there are two modes, continuous and discontinuous operation. This is discontinuous and this one is continuous mode operation. I would recommend you to go through the basics of three-phase semi-converter from power electronics course to understand these waveforms in more detail. Now let us do mathematical analysis. So here we can see that if we apply the KVL, the armature voltage is a function of alpha is equals to IARA plus EB. That is equals to EB IARA, and EB is nothing but K phi into IN. Now if we solve this, we will get one equation. Speed is proportional to this armature voltage and is inversely proportional to field current. So if we keep the flux constant, our speed is proportional to this armature voltage E alpha. But this E A or armature voltage is a function of this firing angle alpha. So this output will be maximum if you draw the graph of voltage versus alpha. You can see that average output voltage is maximum, so maximum value will be 3 Vm by pi here, and that will be that when alpha is equals to 0 degree. So as you increase alpha, that is 30 to 180 degree, you will see that average voltage will keep on reducing. At 90 degree it will be 50%. So if we assume 90 degree somewhere here, so the average output voltage will be 50% at this point. So to get the maximum voltage, we should keep firing angle as 0 degree. When firing angle is 0, we will get maximum speed N1. When firing angle is 90 degree, we will get speed close to 50% of rated speed N2. And when firing angle is minimum, we will get speed as N3, which is 0. That means by varying firing angle from 0 to 180 degree, we can control the speed from maximum to minimum. Now depending on your requirement and power, voltage and current requirement, you have to select the required power supply, required switches, and you need to design your semi converter to get all these things. So for this you have to use these mathematical formulas. So we simply understood that at any given instant, average output voltage of this converter is always positive if we find the average output voltage, and if we measure the average output current, that will come in first quadrant. So this is first quadrant operation. Power will only flow from source to the load. Power is product of this EA into IA. So power will flow from source to the load, and this is called as forward motoring operation. Now let us understand operation of three-phase full converter fed DC motor drive. In this we will focus on operation of three-phase full converter fed DC motor drive. So this has again separately excited motor, and we have a field side here. Field is excited by another source. On input side, we are making a use of 3-phase full converter which is fed by 3-phase AC supply. Now this 3-phase full converter is capable of operating in first and fourth quadrant. So average output voltage here can be positive. Average output current of any control rectifier is always positive. So this will happen when you will set alpha of the switches less than 90 degree, and average output voltage is negative when alpha is more than, when alpha is greater than 90 degree. So this will act as first operation forward motoring, and in fourth quadrant it will operate as to give us reverse braking capabilities. Now let us understand how this operates. So T1 will conduct when A phase is positive, T3 when B phase is positive, and T5 when C phase is positive. Similarly, T2 will conduct when C phase is negative and gate pulse is applied. T6 will conduct when B phase is negative and gate pulse is applied, and T4 will conduct when A phase is negative and gate pulse is applied. So let us understand the operation of this in detail. First, it is used for up to 120 kilowatt level. It gives us two quadrant operation. This circuit consists of two groups. Upper groups are called as positive groups T1, T3 and T5, and lower group devices are called as lower groups. Now there are few important points. Each device should trigger at some finding angle alpha. So we will decide some alpha. Alpha will be common for all the devices. Each SCR conducts for 120 degree. SCRs are triggered in sequence 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. The phase shift between the triggering of two adjacent SCR is 60. That means T1 will start conducting at 30 plus alpha. So T2 will conduct at 90 plus alpha. So the difference between them is 60 degree. At any instant, two SCR can conduct, one from upper and second from lower. So the pairing of this are first T1 and T6, T1, T2, T2, T3, T3, T4, T4 and T5, and last is T5 and T6. Again, sequence gets repeated. So this gives you 6 pulse operation. Each SCR conducts in pair. Each SCR conducts with two devices. Here you can see that one is conducting with 6 for 60 degree, and same device one is conducting with 2 for 60 degree. The incoming devices commutates the outgoing devices. When SCR1 commutates SCR5 and T2 commutates 6 and so on. This is a summary table. So with this table you can understand the operation in more simple way. So there are 6 intervals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and each interval is of 60 degree. So first interval is from 30 plus alpha to 90 plus alpha. Here the incoming device is T1. So 1 and 6 are conducting. When 1, 6 conducts, you can find the output voltage as here. So if 1 is conducting here and 6 is conducting, so voltage across the load is nothing but VAB. It is the difference between these two phase voltage. So these points are highlighted here. So in similar way you can apply the logic for other. In second interval starts from 90 to 150 plus alpha. Here T1, T2 conducts and the output voltage is VAC. Third interval starts from 150 plus alpha to 210 plus alpha. Here T2 and T3 conducts, output voltage is VBC. Fourth interval starts from 210 degree plus alpha to 270 plus alpha. Here T3, T4 conducts and the output voltage is VBA. Fifth interval starts with 270 degree plus alpha to 330 plus alpha. The conducting devices are 4 and 5 and the output voltage is VCA. And the last interval is 330 plus alpha to 390 plus alpha. The devices conducting are T5 and T6. The output voltage is VCB. So if we start from 30 plus alpha to 330 plus alpha, you can see that if you find the difference, it comes as 360 degree. So the entire cycle gets completed. So we get the output voltage which will have 6 pulses. This is one first pulse, second pulse, third pulse, fourth pulse, fifth pulse and sixth pulse. That's why this operation is also called as 6 pulse converter operation. And the ripple frequency of output has 6 times of frequency. That means when input complete one cycle, output will complete at 6 cycles. If input has frequency of fs, output would have frequency of 6 times of fs. So here T1 is triggered at 30 plus alpha. T6 is already in conduction when T1 is turned on. During the interval 30 plus alpha to 90 plus alpha, T1 and T6 conduct together and the load voltage is equals to VAB, that is difference between VAN and VB, and T2 is triggered at omega T equals to 90 plus alpha. T6 turns off naturally as it is reverse biased and as soon as T2 is triggered. During this 90 plus alpha to 150 plus alpha, T1, T2 conducts and the output voltage is VLC. In similar way, you can write the application for remaining 4 pairs. Now let us go with the waveforms. So we have drawn this waveform for alpha equals to 60. Our load is highly inductive load. A DC motor has higher inductance, so output current is expected to be continuous. So this is a point where T1 can conduct because it will be forward biased at 30 plus alpha. At 90 plus alpha, this T2 is forward biased, so T2 can conduct here if the gate pulse is applied immediately at 0 degree. So this is the point where T3 will conduct. This is the point where T4 will conduct. Here T5 will conduct and here T6 will conduct. So in first interval it starts with 30 plus alpha to 90 plus alpha. So if alpha is 60, the device will start conducting from this 30 plus alpha. So from here to 90 plus alpha. So this is first interval, 30 plus alpha to 90 plus alpha. Here 6 and 1 are conducting. When 6 and 1 conducts, the output voltage is VA. T1 will stay in conduction till T3 is not triggered. So T3 is triggered here. So firing angles of all the devices are from here. You have to measure alpha. So T3 will be triggered actually here from this alpha. T1 is actually triggered here. So T1 and T2 will start, T1 and T6 will conduct in this interval 30 plus alpha to 90 plus alpha. Output voltage will be VAB. Now at this point the gate T6 will turn off and T2 will start conducting. So T2 will start conducting, but T1 was already in conduction from here. So it has to conduct till T3 is not triggered. So T3 is triggered. So between this two interval, that is 90 plus alpha to 150 plus alpha, we have T1 and T2 conducting. So the output voltage here will be VAC. So here 1 and 2 are conducting. So output voltage is VAC. Similarly at next interval 3, 210 alpha, 150 plus alpha to 210 plus alpha, 2 and 3 will conduct and the output voltage is VBC. And when 3 and 4 conducts here, output voltage is VBA. When 4 and 5 conducts, output voltage is VCA. When 5, 6 conducts, output voltage is VCB. So we can see that when input has completed one cycle, output has completed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 cycles. So ripple frequency of output is 6 times of Fs, where Fs is the frequency of input signal. If we draw the current, here current is not drawn, but the nature of output current will be continuous current because the load is highly inductive. So output current, nothing but armature current in this case, will be a continuous current. One more thing you can observe here, that if alpha is less than 90 degree, the average output voltage is positive here. So it is operating in first quadrant and average output current is also positive. So power is flowing from source to the load. So here different waveforms are drawn. So for alpha equals to 0 we get this waveform, positive voltage. For alpha equals to 30 we get this voltage. For alpha equals to 60 we just did this. So we get positive voltage, positive current. For alpha equals to 90, you can see that we have this positive voltage and negative voltage. So the average output voltage of this will be 0, because average, if you find the average of this, it comes as 0. If you find the average of this, it will be 0. So here average output voltage will be 0 for alpha equals to 90 degree. Here it will be positive for alpha greater than, alpha less than 90, and for alpha more than 90, that is 120, 150 and 180, average output voltage is negative. So if you draw the two quadrant operation, you can see that current is always positive here, IA, but voltages are positive and negative. So if alpha is less than 90, average output voltage is positive, current is positive, power is flowing from source to the load. And for alpha more than 90, power flows from load to the source. So first quadrant, this is called as first quadrant, and this is called as fourth quadrant. In first quadrant, this is called as forward motoring, and fourth quadrant is called as reverse regeneration. Here power flows from load to the source. And if you draw the current here, you can say that current will be continuous in nature. So this current will be indicated by I, A here. So we can say that alpha less than 90, we get first quadrant forward motoring. For alpha greater than 90, we get negative voltage, that is fourth quadrant reverse braking. For alpha equals to 0, the output voltage is 0, that means motor will not run. The output has ripple frequency of 6 times of Fs. If input has frequency of 300 Hz, output will have frequency of 300 Hz. So these are the modes. Firing angle changes from 0 to 90 degree. Voltage also changes from maximum to minimum. This is rectification mode. Firing angle changes from 90 to 180. Voltage changes from 0 to negative. This is called as inversion mode. Now let us understand mathematical equations. For this, speed is proportional to the armature voltage. This armature voltage is given by 3√3 by pi into Em cos of alpha. By changing the firing angle alpha, we can change the armature voltage, and by changing the armature voltage, we can change the speed of this drive. So if you see the relation between firing angle and this average output voltage for full converter, you can see that for up to 90 degree average output voltage is positive, and above 90 degree it is negative. This is called as inversion mode. But with semi converter, average output voltage is always positive. So you cannot achieve braking capability with semi converter, but full converter you can achieve it. So it operates in first and fourth quadrant. So in this lecture we studied operation of 3-phase semi converter and full converter phase DC motor drive. We understand forward motoring operation with semi converter. We understood operation of 2-quadrant operation drive with full converter drive. Thank you.